Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NLC. We're moving on to our final game of the day. Godsent against Nordavind, and we've had a lot of upsets, so I'm not even going to attempt to call this one.
Yeah, it's getting tough to call games at the moment after the last couple of results.
We've only been wrong 3 times out of 4 so far today. So
speak for yourself.
Okay.
Didn't you? Isn't it the same?
I predicted Fnatic Rising.
I think it's actually
as well.
Yeah, you did the same. I don't know what he's talking about. This is oh my god! Look at this guy. Get out of here.
Go to picks and bangs. Take us to the picks.
Picks and bangs. So obviously a lot of things have changed, or a fair amount of things have changed when it comes to the meta. We've seen pretty much a complete absence of Rumble today, and I expect that to kind of continue. I think you can fall back onto him. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be the case very frequently. And Sharp, did favor that quite a bit in recency, that alongside Zao, which was removed away. So I'm curious to see how Nordavind are going to adapt, particularly for me in the jungle role when it comes to Sharp.
Give me that, Diana. Just inject it into my veins. I want it. But with the bans coming through from Nordavind, I don't know if it's a respect adaptation against aesthetic. He used to be a very formidable Kindred player. Back in the day, that was like in his EU Masters breakthrough, he was kind of the champion he was known for as well. Came in with a lot of hype there. And then obviously the Nocturne not only targeted towards laners, but also Sharp, a jungler who was one of the first junglers to bring out Nocturne again before it was meta. Because he was like, I think this champion is a hidden OP, and all of a sudden it just exploded everywhere.
Not hidden anymore, just firmly in that OP category. A couple of champions could sneak their way through. Akali there, the Xin Zhao's available, Viego, Gwen. As you said, Jamada. Oh no, it's late. I'm past my bedtime already. But Viego,
you called the Viego. Yeah, there you go.
So we'll take that. We'll take them where we can get them.
Yeah, exactly. Called the Viego, that's there. Lulu's up and available. Karma is also up and available. So I'm expecting Nordavind to potentially lock one of those in the next rotation, though they have typically liked to, take ADs relatively early and even mid picks too, which in this case, Viego could be that. We'll have to see. But over to Godsent, you've got that Renekton up. Aesthetic also likes in the lead for now. Ooh, okay. Last second swap back over to the Ezreal. So let's see. Is it going to be Karma Ezreal? Yeah, it looks like it, I think, here. So a lot of sort of, kite back already. Probably going to be the name of the game for Godsent, but still, flexibility in terms of where they can put the Karma and how exactly they want to round out the comp. Typically, these sort of Karma Ezreal comps, relatively blank canvases until, the layer lock-ins when it comes to red side.
Go on, Sharp. Give me that, Diana. Finalize it with Ericsson onto an AD as well. Just give it to me. But I knew it. Lulu, also a champion that you talked about earlier, pairs fairly well together with the Viego. And obviously, if you don't pick your AD carry now, it does leave open the flexibility of still having Lulu going down towards that bottom side of the map together with a potential Cockmore. So that is something Godsent will have to be worried about going down to the second ban phase as well.
Yeah, I wonder, Cockmore wouldn't be bad because there's too many sort of engaged supports. I feel like left up. You could also just go down the very sort of aggressive route into the Ezreal with Varus, and that's exactly what Nordavind are going to do. Of course, I think like Nordavind of old maybe even would have locked in the what you call it, the Kaiser. Don't know how I forgot that champion, but yeah, Chris Berg on this one, very powerful laner. We know that already, and despite the nerfs, we're actually still going to see the Rumble come out. So I'll be curious, I'll be curious to check rather how Aesthetic does on this Rumble in terms of jungle clear, because did get hit the W cooldown increased by 1 second. It means that the jungle clear is significantly slower on the first sort of 2 to 3 camps. But once you get past that sort of teaming phase, which to be fair, it's 2 camps, you will start to be able to sort of go back to the Rumble of old.
And when we see CRISPR kind of take this backline sort of weak side AD carry pool as the Varus kind of becomes, at least for the early game, we have seen Kerberos get a lot more resources on Nordavind as well. So that's why as soon as I see that Wukong ban confirm the second ban phase, that's the respect Kerbs kind of deserve, because he's been taking a lot of solo kills recently up towards that top side of the map when he's just been styling on people with TP and Ignite.
Not necessarily even a player you can really ban out, though, because yes, the Wukong's unavailable, but are you banning Cho'Gath? Are you banning Nasus? What's going on? You're not doing that. You've got Nautilus and Leona taken off the table, so it looks like they're considering the Karma and the Lulu maybe not going into that bot lane.
Yeah, very interesting to see the Leona moved away on the Nordavind side, because I feel like maybe that was one of the stronger options for them in terms of like engage supports. Still up and available. Maybe just worried about it being locked in and Karma flex into a solo lane on this rotation from Godsent, but Godsent, okay, last second swap over to the Lee Sin. So Set would have been fine. Lee, I think, offers, a lot of mobility. I think at the moment, though, if we see Karma in the bottom lane of Ezreal and the Lee Sin, you've kind of got two what can either be super weak side or super strong side lanes. And you also can, obviously, you're going to have counter pick in the mid lane. So potential for a really strong draft setup from Godsent, in my opinion. So I'm going to be very meticulous on how Nordavind want to respond, because you can either try and go down the hard lane bully route. Mundo will be really interesting to track. We saw one yesterday in UKLC. He ended up being absolutely unkillable. And yeah, I think Rakan to sort of round out the comp for a little bit of engage wouldn't be too bad here either.
Had to be Cub pulling out the Dr. Mundo, didn't it? In the NLC. I'm very, very excited to see this one. We're going to have to see if that Lulu is going to end up in that mid side, or is potentially going to be going down to support. With the Rakan, you've got to imagine it'll be going into that solo lane. But yeah, we're going to have to see how Godsent react to this pickup.
It's curious right now because, you know, you don't have too much backline dive. Right now, you're looking to skirmish around Viego, around the top side of the map, at least for the early game, and trying to get some leads there. But it's not like you're fighting for a reliable AD carry where you just start team fights and you kite them back. You want to be able to take it slow. You want to be able to poke them down, as we saw then Vox try at least too early in the Trick series. And there we go. Godsent getting some powerful solo laners for themselves here with the Lee Sin and with the set. Obviously, I think going into the mid game, their brawling power is going to be really tough to deal with as well. So both sides here certainly has something they can play for in terms of where they want to skirmish. I think with the Viego, before if you skirmish around the Lee Sin rather than the set, you do have a good shot at finding some of these good early game engages. But if you go up against the set, that's a massive amount of power this carry brings. Okay, I'm tired of seeing this guy like last pick, incredibly strong pick right now, and I think Godsent did well by getting him.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like Godsent, when you go down that sort of Ezreal Karma route on red side, a lot of the times you end up with pretty blank canvas comps where you can fill out and respond appropriately to what the blue side team are doing, and I think they've done just that. We'll have to see exactly how they pilot it, because Godsent, you know, they haven't been the best when it comes to executing comps all of the time. But I look over to Nordavind and I say, you know, you've got a bunch of, you know, A+ and up champions at the moment in the meta. Mundo is overperforming worldwide whenever he showed up, and of course you've got Varus, Lulu, Viego, Rakan, loads of strong engage options, loads of strong sort of lane bully champs as well.
It's certainly a couple of really interesting compositions, and we've got a couple of lovely, handsome young men to take us through the final game of the day. Hiprain and Orcs, take it away.
Thank you very much. As we are getting ready to go into our fifth and final game of the day, we finally see a Mundo. I've been kind of expecting to see it earlier than the fifth game, because we did see it in the UKLC at the end of yesterday, and like Jamada hit on, it was mortal. If you leave this champion untouched, it is disgusting. It gets so tanky, and he's really hard to deal with because he's got that spell shield as well, and it's actually quite hard to pop it off. It's not like a Malzahar where you just hit him and the spell shield goes. You actually have to commit some kind of CC to him.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jake, I was kind of surprised to see you after that introduction from Viperune. I thought it would be someone else, but I guess it is you, so we just move on. Yeah, I mean, I've actually spoken to Kerberos a lot specifically about the Mundo.
Just press the button again.
Essentially, he was... I talked with him a little bit about builds, a little bit about the champion, and it's kind of like into the set, you want to maintain distance. There's no reason to really get in melee range of the set. You know, he'll face break at you, he'll smash into you. The Mundo can just sit at a distance, use your E to harass, use your Q to harass and farm, and you can very comfortably just look to scale up in the lane and only really get up close if you think you're going to win the fight. And it's going to scale well. I feel like Nordavind, you know, they don't have the same DPS as you would have with like other AD carries, but they have that long range poke. They got a decent front line. They got strong skirmishing power mid jungle. They got engaged Rakan and the Varus. I feel like they have a bit of everything in this composition, which sometimes can be seen as bad, but I feel like this comp is quite well rounded in terms of a lot of strong picks. Godsent, what I will say is I feel like this composition would have been a lot better like last time.
Ooh, Chrisberg may have to burn a flash here. They're going to land the kick. Going to follow the kick up, and Chrisberg holding his summoner spell until the last possible moment, and it's getting him joining up nice and late. And now I do want to criticize Kerberos a little bit on this one. He's gone for Mundo, not Corporate Mundo.
I do like
if anybody was tuned into the UKLC yesterday, it was a Mundo appreciation stream at the end of the day.
I mean, look at
me and Jamada spent most of the time just laughing at how wacky Corporate Mundo is. It's an amazing
Look at that skin though, dude. Look.
It is dumb as well.
Okay, oh my god. I mean, yeah, so Chrisberg covering without really being in a comfortable position, but they're actually looking for a level 1 invade. They do well in this, by the way. Every champion really strong, and Rumble very weak, level 1.
Yep. Especially after the nerfs as well. He hasn't even got the overheat charged up as here comes 610. They're going for the flash. Sharp's already low. He's going to be executed. Heals the smite to be able to survive this. But Curb could be next up here as he's being chased down, and Sharp is being cooked by Aesthetic. Aesthetic trying to find the overheat. They come in onto 610. 610 flashes into Kerberos's face as he's trying to heal from the pots to chase up. One more kick from 610 will seal the deal for Kerberos. He's trying to kite, but he is taken out. 610 finds first blood.
Why did Ericsson start to leave? Like, it feels like maybe they signaled, oh, I guess they're not here, and then they just face checked them. And you know what? Aesthetic was pretty much useless in that fight, and it just did not matter at all. Looking at the replay, so they stacked in the brush to wait them, and Ericsson, he's gone. He's like, I'm going back to lane, guys. You good? And he's like, no, we're not good. Not even slightly. And it ends up in this long chase, and it's like, I mean, the set has the CC, the Lee Sin's great in these level 1s with the Q. Aesthetic barely does anything and then goes back to farm. It's just, you know, the plan was there from Nordavind, and it ended up being very messy very quickly, not well executed. And now Ross is put in a bit of an uncomfortable spot. It looks like Kubu just instantly started a trade with him and put him down low HP, but he does have a decent amount of passive regen to work with.
Yeah, he's got that shield as well, so should be a-okay, but Curb definitely in a rougher spot as he had to burn the potion to try and run away from 610. Ultimately, cost him his life.
It's not that much. I mean, mid lane, Ericsson's completely fine. Actually got the lane a little bit quicker than 610, and he can just harass him. Also has flash advantage. Top lane, Mundo's okay in this position. As long as he's not liable to be dove, he can just farm from a distance. He can just use his cleavers to do so. But the problem is Sharp also got put behind. So we see Aesthetic instantly being able to pick up that bot side scuttle, has the priority in the bot lane, so then they can move towards him. Just a very comfortable spot. And normally invading a Rumble is good because he is pretty useless level 1, whereas you really spike level 3. But just didn't have the information, poor setup, and assumed, oh, we haven't seen them yet, they must not be here, but last time we're ready.
They were indeed, and there's a lot of poke going into 610. He is getting harassed pretty heavily by Ericsson in the mid lane. Kind of the expected outcome. Crab was picked up by Aesthetic quite early, while Sharp actually wanted to finish up some of his clear. He will get himself a crab though, so it's not the end of the days for him. And just the resets going in, teleports coming back from 610. Got himself the pickaxe, so closing in on that whip, and then that weak siding gets a lot easier once you've got that whip finished up.
And you know, one of the things with Rakan is it's quite a safe pick. So often we see it do well into some of those more aggressive supports. Also into Braum, a bit too mobile to put him down. But he just doesn't offer that much pressure into things like a Karma Ezreal. And you can see the amount of harass just being flown constantly out towards Chrisberg and Touch makes things difficult.
There it is, Kubi. Gets on top of the canister, but pops off Curb. So he doesn't get the heal and denies that from him.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't really seen the new Mundo, cleavers, basically the same. Ult, you get an instant heal, then it's pretty much the same. Your E is like an empowered auto, and then if it kills like a minion, it like sends it flying through. So it's good for like shoving or harassing.
All good, not bad.
Yeah, somebody's out. And then the W is his new ability where essentially any damage that's dealt to you, you kind of like, it's almost like a Tom Kent shield. That you can like heal back up afterwards, and then you also deal damage based on how much damage you took. So kind of like a Tom Kench Grey shield, but you have to activate it, and then it starts stacking damage, and then you can dish it out. But that's essentially what his kit does. Oh, and then his passive. His passive is this thing where if you CC him, a little capsule pops off, and if he picks it up, it heals him. So he doesn't get CC'd. Instead, he takes a bit of damage. I believe.
Yeah. It's actually really irritating. We saw a team that just couldn't commit their CC to ever pop it because you never wanted to use it. You can see he's got it on now because of the purple highlight on his health bar. And now the maximum dosage is there. He's got level 6.
Yeah, and I mean, even though there was the rough start to the lane, you have so much sustain built into your kit. You can farm from a distance. You're really safe. It's pretty chill in the laning phase. You can see using the E there, something that Mundo didn't really have is you can just smash a wave. You just knock the minion through and absolutely smash through it. So pretty strong. And Kubu, as much as that has a decent amount of sustain, can't really match up to this.
No, really struggling. And the later it gets, the harder it gets to kill this Monday. He actually becomes so tanky. As a user jumping into the face, he's used the shift, and Zene's there, but the ignite is down, the cleanse is used, and they find the knock-up as one arrow will steal it as Chrisberg secures the kill. Now Zvene has to run away. Sure, he can use that tether, but he's not going to be able to find a kill as he eats the arrow as well. And that was an empowered one.
Yeah. You can shut off the magic damage shows up. Yeah, Yusa just overstepping, hits a W. It's like, I can E in here to apply that pressure. Ends up paying for it. Now, you see Sharp actually invading on the top side, looking to steal away the third Raptor camp. And actually, he's going to be there around the time the red buff spawns if he does want to stay. I think he'll likely just get out after this. Either way, trying to put that pressure down, trying to deny away from Aesthetic, who has built up a pretty big farm lead overall so far.
Oh, they find the arrow. They're actually going to chase. Chrisberg has to flash the wall. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the equalizer's been laying down, and Ericsson has to use the wild growth to try and jump away, but he's still on that equalizer, and they're following for the kick, and there is a couple of kills picked up for 6-10.
Double kill.
Flawless execution there by Godsent.
Yeah, Lee Sin really strong in these skirmishes, and the thing with the Lulu is good at bolstering her ally, and Sharp is mega weak, so there's just very little value. You could even see Sharp trying to block the Sonic Wave from coming in, but ends up getting kicked through the Lulu, which you'll see in the replay. So just the fact Aesthetic has his ultimate here and Sharp doesn't make a massive difference, but you can see the Viego trying to block there, just ends up being a vessel for the kick, and they both end up going down. 3-0 now, and this Lee Sin puts him in a really strong position.
Incredibly strong, actually. And
this all kind of came off that lousy start. You know, the invade that was kind of botched, really put Sharp behind. And typically Viego isn't the most proactive early jungler. And again, Rumble does clear fast. Obviously, his initial camp has been slowed down, but he's normally going to get leashed for that. But right now, Sharp is kind of just out the game. 2 levels down on Aesthetic. He should hit level 6 soon, but even so, kind of be waiting a while before he gets that strength.
Looks like Kubu going to pop everything, jumping on onto Curb, and Curb flashes, and he is down. Maximum dosage will not heal him enough, and he is going to be on the grey screen.
That's it. Oh, seen a bit of a fight mid. Yeah, I think
not going to get
fine. That's the thing with this Mundo into the set, is the set does so much damage if he ults you. And the thing is, like, in the early game, you can just get absolutely popped. You're just not tanky enough for the healing really to kick in. No resistances to speak of on Curb at that point, I believe.
Well, a couple of plates getting picked up while, you know, things are falling apart for the side of Nordavind in the mid and the top side and the jungle. Their bot lane's doing okay. Their bot lane's in a pretty decent position, but they haven't really translated that into much other than that one plate, while Rift Herald is now being secured in the top side, and Sharp is going to take the crab. They may look to start up the dragon here and at least find some kind of an answer using that pressure they've been able to accrue for themselves in the bot side of the map.
Yeah, I mean,
go on.
At least they have one lane to play around, and the fact that the level 6 is such a spike for Nordavind's bot lane, like the ult from Chrisberg as well as touches, so much engaged there, particularly onto the Karma, who doesn't have an arcane shift or a cleanse. And Godsent's bot lane doesn't really get that much stronger at level 6. You know, Ezreal's ultimate is nice, but kind of has to line up, you know, to hit it, and it's not always, you're not always able to do so in a fight. And obviously Zvene's ultimate just gets a bit more power, but he already had access to it. So really puts them on a little bit of a sore spot here in terms of contesting the 2v2, which isn't necessarily a problem, but it does mean that Nordavind has a lane to play around. Whereas for Aesthetic, the top's pretty comfortable, your mid's pretty comfortable, and he's fine just farming up and building an advantage there. So when it comes to these team fights, they have these big engage tools that they can rely on. And we've seen today, engage just tend to do pretty well. Like these heavy engaged team fight comps has really excelled.
It kind of goes back to that, like, almost a trigger word we used to use way too much in previous splits, was ease of execution.
Yep.
Teams that are typically easier to execute do get ahead. They do seem to win our league because, you know, it's easy to land a Leonora. You don't have to really have too much setup, and this is that setup we are talking about. Zvene easily picked up as the quickness will also charm onto UC. Throws out the True Shot Barrage, and he's bringing in some backup. Chrisberg trying to get the additional damage in, but the teleports are being used, and Chrisberg going to get cooked by the Equalizer, able to buy himself some space, but 610 comes in. The Wild Growth is used. They find the knockup, but he has the execute. 610 will secure the kill. Sharp trying to find a kill, but he will lose his life as Aesthetic will take him down, and Godsent will come out on top of the team fight.
Oh, and then on the top side, we see a solo kill onto this Mundo. Not ideal in that scenario. I mean, ultimately, the problem there was Chrisberg was in such a compromised position. There was no way he was realistically going to get out, especially when the 3-0 Lee Sin set his eyes on the Varus. And the supports come in, and like Ericsson tries to keep him alive, but it doesn't really actually contribute too much. And the problem was because, again, Sharp is so weak. Aesthetic is a massive factor in these fights. The Equalizer does a ton of damage. He does a ton of damage. Sharp just kind of is there. Didn't do enough to finish anyone off with his ultimate. And the thing is, Viego benefits so much. If you can kill a target, if you can get that, if you can steal them, he obviously gets to use their numbers, their stats. He gets the reset, he gets extra health, he gets another ult charge. You get so much from that. But because he's too weak to kill anyone, you just get such a reduced amount of value. And then obviously on the top side, we saw K-Bros get solo killed. So didn't get to see what happened there, but who is ahead in the lane matchup now and had the executioners, so.
It's the pause. There we go. Completely having a brain fart. Pause was just a video card issue. Basically given a quick notification, and that's why they got tapped out. So it was fairly quick. But let's have a look at the action down in the bot side of the map.
Yeah, I mean,
it looked great. It was a good start.
It's so easy to take out the Karma in this situation, but the problem is they overstep here. You know, they get the kill and they keep pushing forwards. They don't have information on Aesthetic. This should have been a quick play. This should have been, we kill Karma, we get out. But instead they overcommit to it, and then they end up getting punished pretty heavily. And you can see here, Sharp isn't able to do enough to kill a target. Aesthetic does so much damage with that harpoon, and then it's just the two supports left who really can't hold their own in this skirmish.
As we come out of that as well, we now see the Gore Drink has been finished up onto 610. He's 4-0 on the Lee Sin. You got a 2-0-3 Aesthetic, a 1-0-1 Kubu. Stride Breaker finished up. You got the horrible combination of Sword Boots plus Hextech Alternator on Aesthetic.
Broken combo.
It is a really filthy combo. As I love the auto attack animation on towers from Mundo. Just headbutts the tower. It's so good.
Yeah, it is a banger. Actually, you know, that's one of the things I love when they do redo a champion is when they redo all the skins.
Yes.
And you just gotta see all these sick reimaginings and everything. I didn't really want to comment on that play because no one was going to die, but Godsent applying the pressure and kind of establishing control on the bot side. The strength of 610 Aesthetic is kind of bleeding into the bot lane. Makes it very hard for Chrisberg and Touch to go aggressive as a result. And top lane, Kubu's really far ahead now. You know, he's got his Stride Breaker complete already. K-Bros's Mythic is a lot cheaper and a lot less power in it.
Oh, Heart Zapper's on for Curb. There's that great health you were talking about. The Stride Breaker into the suplex. Curb packs a Mossman dosage. And Kubu's taken down. Curb secures himself the kill.
Yeah, baited by the Heartstopper and the ultimate as well, the free heal. So gets a pretty well needed kill onto Kubu. Definitely won't complain about that one.
That great health coming in big. So let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Kubu's 2 levels up, feels confident, and K-Bros, again, he's just doing a fair amount of damage here. The great health kicks in, and then the ultimate here gives him 224 HP, and then Kubu's got nothing left. You know, he kind of gave everything there, and then he tries to at least make it a 1-for-1 trade, but isn't able to find it. And off the back of that, K-Bros has been able to pick up Giant's Belt and play the Steel Caps. That'll make the lane matchup a lot easier for him to handle.
Now, we are seeing potentially this tower going down. I think Ericsson should get here in time, but it's going to be pretty close. Actually, I think it's just dead. Yeah, Ericsson too slow, and that's the first tower.
No one gets the local gold.
Taken in the mid lane. At least 610 didn't get the local gold, but I don't think that's the end of the world. He's pretty big.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, someone was probably going to take that tower pretty soon anyway, so at least they deny that aspect of the gold. Godsent now reset back on the map. They're going to easily be able to get mid priority here. They're going to be able to move with a dragon. Nordavind do have that first dragon, so I just don't think they contest this one. I don't think they're concerned. There's not really much you can do about it.
As much as it would be nice to pick up the second dragon, probably not going to be worth it unless Sharp Feels like he's worth so little gold, but he'll try and sacrifice himself for the smite. He's thinking about it. No, he's not.
This is very late.
Curve. They're actually looking for the fight, but the equalizer should just be able to shut this one down. But Touch comes in, gets the quickness off. Aesthetic has to go golden for the moment as Touch has a wild growth on and Sharp jumping away. Here's the face breaker by Kubu into the slam. Godsent just running away with a fight. 610 secures himself a double kill, and Curve is going to get rooted. They're going to be able to pop the CC for now, and Curve continues to run away. 610 looks to run him through. The heart zappers on. They're looking for the insect onto Kerberos, but Sharp comes in with a stun from the path, and he tries to find a bit of additional damage, but it's not going to be enough. As 610 going low to Kerberos, a shutdown into the Dr. Mundo. And Curve,
yeah, but a massive win for Godsent. I mean, just 7-1 now for 610 on this Lee Sin. And my question is, why did Nordavind take that fight? You didn't have vision setup, you didn't have map control. It wasn't like you were getting a flank. You ran into a choke point. I mean, what? Okay, Godsent have already got the dragon. They're out. But you still want to go, so you walk through an equalizer to fight them, and you're on top of the TP coming out from Kubu with the beautiful kick from 610. I don't think you could take a worse fight if you tried.
I actually think watching that back as well, it looked like Ericsson misclicked on the wild growth because he altered Touch, who was pretty healthy at the time, to be fair, and Sharp was the one who was lower. So I think he misclicked on who he wanted at wild growth, and sure, he got out, but if Sharp had a little bit more health just on that bot side, he might have been the one to get that shutdown, and he needs that gold more than Kerberos. Kerberos is a tank. Sure, he's going to be pretty hard to deal with later, but Sharp really needs to find some way to get relevant in this game because he is 0-3. He has a Divine Sundra finished up, but he's playing into finished boots with the Proto Belt and a 10-stacked Dark Seal. As they are just stealing away some buffs here from Aesthetic. Spotted out though for now.
Can't really
potential collapse coming in. The equalizer has been laid, but they are fine. They're able to get away.
And does look like Chrisberg should just be able to walk off here. Equalizer no longer available. But I had a point. There's going to be a great point, and now I've forgotten it. And it's all your fault, Jake.
Insert intelligence opinion.
Oh man.
Have you just thought about, like, you know, not forgetting?
Yeah, that's a good one. That. Maybe I should try that. I don't know. It's gone. It's gone. It'll come back.
You're gonna be in bed tonight and you're gonna be like, Mundo, Dr. Mundo, or whatever your point was gonna be.
It's just the more I think about it, the more it escapes me. You know when that happens. There's like a word for that as well.
It is the worst.
It's just
when it's on the tip of your tongue, basically.
And the thing is, I should just drop it, but at this point, I'm committed to trying to. Yeah. Come on. What was it?
I don't know, mate. That's why you're the one who's trying to tell me.
I'm looking around the screen. I'm like, there's got to be something that I was going to talk about. I don't know, whatever. We're going to have a potential fight coming out here. We'll focus on that for now.
Although Curve zoning with his Titanic Hydra, actually, he does a lot of damage. As Ericsson will eat the kick from 610, and I think that might just be it secured here. The smites will go down, the Rift Herald secured, and Godsent not going to be able to find themselves the pick they wanted.
Nah, still haven't got it. I don't even...
Come on, man.
I'll get it together. I'll drop it. I'll move on. No, I'll move on. It's throwing me for a real. Yeah, good play from Nordavind to secure that Herald back when by all means they are super far behind.
Wait.
And shouldn't be able to do so.
Yus has got Triforce.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a shift going towards Triforce on Ezreal since Divine Sundra got nerfed for ranged champions.
Interesting.
Yeah, Triforce, because we had that buff a while ago that made Triforce more beneficial for basically everyone, except maybe Aurelia. Although even then, I'm not sure about that. But they changed Triforce quite a bit. But then obviously Divine Sundra came in and was so strong. So then it got nerfed for ranged champions to where the damage is lower than it was before. So although you still will see Sundra Ezreals, Triforce is a solid option. Obviously has a big Sheen proc, which is quite nice, especially against squishier targets. And a lot of attack speed.
Yeah, a lot of attack speed. Everything else is probably going to say more or less the same here for Yusa, though.
Red team's turn.
Still uses CDR very effectively as the turret will go down. Kerberos Now starting to be a bit of a menace in the side lane. Got a lot of wave clear thanks to that Titanic as well. And it looks like with this dragon spawning up, Cloud Soul's on the menu, and Godsent are going to be first in the area to get it. But remember, they've got Rift Herald on Sharp, so
and this
they're just going to
worth a lot of money.
Remember, these tier 2s are worth more gold now.
It's worth more money, Jake. More.
I mean, they could probably get another charge off if they're quick.
Some big gold, 325 each. Again, you're not too concerned about the dragon. This is some corporate Mundo gameplay. Very efficient.
There it is. Tower goes down, Curb. It's going to get slammed back into the team. He's trying to pick up the thing for the heal.
Nah,
it's going to pop the maximum dosage and gets all that movement speed and healing. That is a lot of healing still.
Yeah, I mean, this is the point when Mundo starts to like really come online. It's gone. So basically, in terms of build, I've spoken to Kib about this. Gauntlet is a decent option because it's cheap. Sunfire has more damage, but it's still expensive and it's not really better statted. Titanic is a good option to have like a fair amount of damage. You could go Anathema's Chains, but you end up quite low in terms of damage. It's good if there's like a high value target you use it on. And then third item is basically Warmogs every scenario. It just gives you a ton of HP that scales so well with you, but also the sustain really nice so you can heal up from poke or outside of your ult.
Aesthetic tries to put down the equalizer, does do so, and that infected Bone Cleaver did so much damage to him. Oh my word.
It's actually insane the percentage max health it does, especially if you've got no magic resist. The numbers on it are, I mean, it's not even new, by the way. It's just always been that crazy, like, the fact it does so much.
But he also gets AD, doesn't he, now? Mundo, from his abilities, if I remember right.
I mean, he used to get AD. It's just you had to use the E, and then you got a ton of AD. Now it's just passive. You get AD depending on your health. So, you know.
Doesn't his ultimate also give him AD? I'm fairly certain because I looked it up yesterday because we had a Mundo and I actually forgot that he'd been reworked. And well, I knew the rework was coming, but I didn't realize it was out.
Them bonus attack damage based on his bonus health. So the tankier is more AD he gets.
It's a bit like Cho'Gath. You know, you get more damage on more health.
I guess. Kind of different having spell damage compared to like, because I mean, there's a lot of abilities that scale bonus health, like Braum Q scales of health.
Wait, does Braum Q scale off health?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's max HP. It's like it has like an extra damage component that's max HP. Obviously that's like the initial application of damage, like Cho'Gath rather than like stats. But regardless, we are getting a Baron attempt here. TP is available for Kib, and I think that's what they're trying to bait out here. But they could be in for a tricky time if they're corralled into the pit. This is a slow Baron, by the way.
Yeah, remember, you got a lot of poking. You've got touch you can do, also set up. The True Shot barrage comes down, and they just have to cool it off as Curb holds his nerve and doesn't teleport in. Godsent don't really gain anything there, and they lose a tier 2 in the bot side, so even more gold injected. Curb's now finished up the Warmogs. So
he's 3 items. He's got more items than anyone. And in fairness, okay, caveat, Gauntlet is cheap as chip. But still, it's pretty crazy to see considering the early game. That's one tanky boy.
Yeah, he's very tanky right now.
Which, do you know what else that means? Imagine Kubu ulting him into the rest of the team.
Oh, yes. Yes, that is a thing, actually. You have to consider.
Yeah. I wonder... So there's this mechanic where if you ult a target and they're CC immune, you still do the damage when you land, right? Like, let's say you ult an Olaf and he's ulted. Even though you don't take him with you, the creator still does the damage based on his health, right? So you know Mundo's passive? You could probably just ult Mundo. You don't take him because he's CC immune, but then like you dunk the air, you know, and it just deals a ton of damage.
Oh, they're not looking to ult him. They're looking to ult Chrisberg. Apparently, I can't speak, but the team fight's breaking out, and Yusu's being charmed. He's been cleansed, but Sharp will secure the kill, and now able to steal these spawns. He can kite, he can fight in 6-10. Can't kill Ericsson. It's the shutdown for him. Meanwhile, Curb running through everybody as Kubu's being chased. The Sharp will dash over the wall. The shield is big, but Curb will continue the assault on him as the infected Bone Claw into the arrow. As the Aesthetic is being chased. Mundo goes where Mundo pleases, and Curb is taking names left, right, and centre, but slowly and surely he is taken out as Aesthetic will be able to find him with the chains, and Chrisberg is executed to the tower, so not the end of the world.
Bro, that was Baron. That was Baron. If they just backed off and went to Baron, but instead they do that. I don't know, man.
God's got a lot of health, but he doesn't actually have all that much resistances. He's working with the Frozen Fist and he's working with the ninjas as they are going to try to take this tower down.
It's fine. Just your ult's down. Stop trying to tower dive. And now 610, TP's back in. He's scary. And they can just go Baron. Might be a little bit risky because Sharp is still up and available, but they have time.
The quickness is almost back up though, so Touch can join in. Ericsson's actually finishing up his recall. And Sharp will spot this out now. He moves into the area. Put a control ward down, and this Baron is slowly but surely going down. There are no teleports, and this could just be it. Touch trying to heal up, trying to get himself caught out for the moment as the equalizer goes in. Touch followed up, finds himself a knock up, but 610 will find the kill, and the Baron is picked up. Nordavind just caught sleeping.
I mean, I just feel like they couldn't respond because, they inted really badly by running it down instead of just backing off and taking Baron when there's only 2 members of the enemy team alive. But, they want to fight at least. But now they lose Dragon as well. It's frustrating because they take a good fight and then all you have to do is just make the correct play. And I think it was relatively simple. Just back off, go Baron. I guess they were concerned, oh, what if Aesthetic, what if Aesthetic tries to steal? But there's no chance of it. Like, this engage comes in, Yusa's already used all his mobility and gets caught out by the charm. Sharp gets the reset, and they can just start chaining kills together without the Ezreal there. 610 tries to clean up Ericsson, but sort of pins him between 3. And then Mundo, feels unkillable. And I'm going to point out, Jake, the exact moment when they should have just backed off. And that is essentially here. Now, just back off. But Kib flashes forwards. You're chasing this guy on the tower for no reason. You get his flash, which, I guess is cool. But now Kib's dead. Sharp's overcommitted. Crispig dies. And the thing is, Aesthetic alone with a 2 HP Karma isn't enough to contest. You just have someone run interruption, and it's fine. But now they're in a really bad spot. Godsent pretty powerful, and they're looking to push up these towers and take some standing gold. Remember, those tier 2s in the side lane are still there, and that's a lot of gold sitting there.
That really will swing the gold back as we are 1 away from Sol, and Nordavind are actually a team that use Sol very effectively. You got a Rakan, you got a Mundo, 2 champions who, when they pop their R, want even more movement speed. So,
yeah, but also like Godsent,
denying
just Karma. Karma is so good with Sol.
Yeah,
I guess it's only movement speed for you, but still pretty cool.
But you get the ability, hey, so you can use your armor, which you can then turn into the AoE shield, which is then AoE movement speed.
I wonder what the cooldown is of Karma's shield right now. I don't think there's that much ability haste from Zvene at the moment. So that's the shield. I'd be impressed if there's 5.7 second cooldown on the ult.
That'd be pretty crazy. The equalizer's been laid down onto Crispberg, and Yusa's actually going to be able to get a bit of damage off here onto him.
No, Crispberg. Okay, he saw Kubu. Still misses. Okay, they're not too bad. And Kibros is applying pressure in the side lane. But we'll just peel away. And you have to be so respectful. It's such a long lane thanks to these 2 towers being down. And because Crispberg's immobile, no one else really has this problem. Anyone else, the equalizer comes, you can kind of just like speed yourself up, jump, dash, whatever out of it. Only Crispberg is like kind of left behind and he has to deal with the consequences. And you saw there that the Shrelliers was able to speed him out of that, but even then he took a fair bit of damage because Zach's pretty fed.
Well, Serpent's Fang's now been picked up on to Crispberg, and Ericsson has a 4 stacked Medjais, which is a little bit interesting, if you ask me. As the equalizer will just be able to clear out the wave, but Curb, he's feeling pretty content just being able to take this wave, and Zene takes a big arrow from Crispberg and loses a big chunk of health. Dragon not up for another 2 minutes. Someone has to go deal with Kubu, and Sharp's just going to try and block the reset.
Yeah, I like this window though. I like the fact that they were able to push up the side lane with Kib and then use that pressure to get the mid tower. And then they can just answer the waves in return. So good window from Nordavind, because I think with that mid tier 1 up, it's so hard to contest Dragon because you can't really contest mid priority very well. A lot of healing on Kib for the Warmogs. They're just able to handle the lanes. They are 4,000 gold down. But I really think it comes down to execution in these fights. there's a lot of emphasis on Godsent's initial engage. You know, things like the set, the Lee Sin, the equalizer from the Rumble. They have a lot of value. But in a longer fight, you get a lot of value out of having a Viego who can get a reset. The Lulu can get off a bunch of spell rotations. Obviously, Mundo has a ton of healing. So it's kind of tricky. I think really I'm looking at what Godsent can do. I'm looking at what Nordavind can do. The engage tools are the critical thing, and who gets caught out. Because if those key members get picked off initially, it can make a massive difference. And now, Nordavind, they've reset on the map, trying to contest mid-wave.
Oh, chains go wide, and that might be the go button. They're on a relatively short cooldown, so if they can hold out, they should be A-okay. Aesthetic taking a fair amount of poker. Curve's going to get jumped onto, but he's going to pop the Heart Zapper, holds out on that maximum dosage. Remember, he still has that Warmog, so momentarily, all that health he lost will come back, and he has a Stone Plate now as well. As Curve is going to hit
a lot of resistances to back up that HP. The shield helps him high time as well. Honestly, he's a bit of a brick wall to deal with. There is healing reduction on Yusta, but a lot of poke coming down from Nordavind. They've kind of sacked the mid-wave here. They want to just take control of Dragon. They will get it, but they might just lose mid-inhibitor tower off the back of this. So they're kind of hesitant on where they want to go, and I think they want to commit to this fight here first.
Yeah, they know that losing this tower could just cost them heavily here. Big arrow comes out. There's the true shot barrage. Chrisberg needs to be oh so careful if Kubu gets the throwback, but he's just CC'd for way too long. The equalizer's there. There's the slam. Here's 610. Mopping up a double kill like it's nothing. But Kerberos starting to run through everybody. He's got the ulti on. He's chasing down Aesthetic. The Bone Cleaver will connect, and Aesthetic being chased for more. They get the slow off for the moment with the harpoon, but Curve continues the assault. Sharp is coming in over that wall. Tries to get the stun off as the red buff's picked up, and Curve slamming through the members. The shielding is big. The knock-up is there. The shutdown picked up by Kerberos. 610 launches over the wall, but Sharp will look to finish this one up. It's a shutdown for Sharp as he steals the form. Dragon can finally get picked up for the side of Nordavind.
Yes, but they deny Soul. They do end up losing that top lane tier 2 and the mid-inhibitor tower, but I don't think you're really too concerned about that at this point. Kerberos just feels unkillable. He's so tanky and he's so sharp. Now, with a bit of gold in his pocket, able to survive longer. So Engage comes in on the Karma and he gets dispatched. But what's 610 here? He makes such an impact. This kick combo with Set to get that massive burst of damage. He just decimates the backline of Nordavind. But unfortunately, as much as he decimates the backline, there's no real answer to Kerberos and Sharp right now. They're so tanky, Kerberos in particular. And Aesthetic, it's like your ult is down. You kind of lose a lot of value after that. There's not really too much you can do in the midst of something like a Mundo who just is so tanky.
And as well, Kerberos doesn't need to really think too much about magic resist as a necessary thing for him, because look at the damage on Godsent. There isn't really any magic damage, and when you've not gone the Divine Sunderer, you don't have that kind of additional pen to work with. So realistically, he's not going to be worried about the magic damage coming out from the side of Godsent.
Even like there's very limited HP damage on the side of Godsent. Like Mundo, a lot of champions in the current meta, but Mundo here, you can see he's built a lot of health, right? The only resistances he's getting, you know, from Stone Plate, which in fairness do give a lot, but then the Gauntlet, which is some. But he has so much HP, but like we don't have a Divine Sunderer on Ezreal. You know, it's not like we have something like a Liandry's, a Blade King, any of these things. The only real health percentage damage is Kubu with his Q, but how often is he going to be punching Mundo down? So he's not really being punished at all very much for taking this sort of build path by having just a ton of HP. And yeah, as you said, Rumble Equalizer really isn't doing too much to him. He can kind of just brush it off, and then only, I guess, Yusta is the one who can kind of like cut through him, but he's struggling to, you know, find a position to do so.
I'm still questioning Ericsson's choice of the Medjais. I guess it obviously gives him his bonuses, his mythic bonuses.
You know, I respect that. It's cheap, and if you start chaining together kills, you get a lot of value. So I don't mind the decision.
Not overly the worst. I think is a pretty high value Serpent's Fang for Chrisberg, looking at the team comp he's playing into when you've got Steric Shields, Karma, and obviously the Haymaker Shield as well. A lot of shielding coming down, but looks like Nordavind, they're just going to try and brute force their way through the mid lane. This is their last tier 2 turret of the game, as it will crumble to them. They're able to take that down. A lot of damage coming out from Chrisberg there. He does get
Yeah.
big
Poke's
arrow
still there
across.
from the Varus. And you can see Godsent kind of playing this 1-3-1, but it just gives windows for Nordavind to brute force in. And then it's not even like Nordavind are losing anything because Kerberos is moving back to catch his side wave. It's like Godsent push the waves up and then Nordavind just catch them. And in the opposite time period when Nordavind push the waves up, they're able to take, you know, a tier 2 tower mid. So actually getting some benefit from that. Things kind of at a lull again. That Baron is up and available, but no one's really making too many moves towards it. 2 minutes on that next dragon. And that's when we'll see likely these teams being forced to fight.
Yeah, it feels like a kind of a necessity. I mean, every dragon that goes down is lower to being a elder. As Sharp actually rooted, the chains go a little bit wide. Chrisberg, he's got a fair amount of CDR right now, so that should be back fairly soon. You can see already a quarter of the cooldown.
Yeah, you're not too bothered.
Gone, so it's very good. What is the CDR on his? He's got 90 ability here. So what's the CDR on his ult?
That's one thing with the
5 seconds. Oh my
with
Lord.
the Dust Blade instead of the Prowler's Claw, you have a lot more ability haste because of the mythic passive. So you actually get like a fair amount of value in terms of like repeatedly being able to spam your ultimate. You see a bit of mid priority contention. Godsent trying to move into the dragon area. The map's so open now with all these turrets down, and Godsent are fishing for an engage, but they don't have Kubu here. And really, they're kind of relying on Kubu to hold everyone together on the equalizer. If you just throw an equalizer down, you're probably not going to get too much value from it. Like, only Chrisberg is like the person who's kind of having to stay on it. And even then, he has 2 Shurelliers on his team to speed him out of it.
You can see both teams are just itching for that fight. The chains go out by Chrisberg. Remember, it's only 35 seconds of shot. Does look for the Spectral Maw for the stun onto Svene, but not going to be able to find it. Curb getting a little bit chunked out, but again, as a Warmog, so going to be back to health pretty quick.
So look back and forth. The team's now setting up for this Baron, and critical mistake here. Chrisberg has 0 mana.
Oh.
Yeah, so not opting to go for a reset first. I believe he just picked up the honey fruit, so he got a little bit back, but still very low on gas in the tank. And remember, the less mana you have, the less damage a mirror mana does as well. Now, but then burning this Baron fast, the shot isn't range to threaten.
Touch needs to jump in. There's the quickness. There's the lockdown. Kerberos slides in. Chrisberg trying to get the damage off, but he is slammed. He loses so much health, and the Haymaker over the wall will secure it. The Baron was stolen away, though, by Nordavind, but they are losing members left, right, and center. But Kerberos, he will not die. He is immortal right now. Sharp's going to make his way out the pit, and Curb going to do his best to try and buy some time as he flashes over the wall to safety. The resets are coming in, but the soul will be gifted over to Godsent.
And again, the DPS is the thing that's kind of lacking for Nordavind. Godsent can't really get through Curb, but Nordavind can't really get through anything at the moment. It's like the only consistent damage they really have is Sharp and Kerberos. Chrisberg, I mean, he was out of mana there, so he's never going to go favorably. But even so, he's just like, he can't really auto-attack these sort of tanky people now.
I mean, we'll have a look at the fight again. It was just Chrisberg's health bar just evaporated. The Haymaker finished him up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he got caught in the edge of that dunk off the Mundo. Lost some
1100 damage, a true damage, by the way, from the Haymaker.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then he's like trying to deal damage from the side. He doesn't have that much mana to work with. But then, like, as soon as he gets dived on, he just like he can't trade autos with Ezreal. He just loses. You can't trade autos with Lee Sin. He just loses. Anyone who gets up in his face is a problem. And again, he had low mana, so it's not like he could even like poke that well from a distance because he barely had like 2 Qs in him. So not an optimal timing. Should have obviously gone for that reset prior to that. They do not have the Baron, but Cloud Soul over to Godsent, and that extra mobility definitely valuable when navigating these team fights.
5,300 health is how much Curve is working with here. Full build at this point. Still waiting on that final item for Chrisberg. I assume it's probably going to be something like a Guardian Angel. He really needs that survivability. It's the True Shot Barrage. Chunks out Ericsson as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to go for a reset here. There's no reason to really actually be forced to fight mid. There's no objective on the map. With the Baron, you obviously want to push, but your members just got chunked out, so they're just going to reset and look to reapply pressure. And in the meantime, Godsent can answer their side waves. Bot wave in particular, which was pushed up. And now Nordavind feel confident. They know Lee Sin is in the side lane. If the fight kicks off, TP often can be too late at this point of the game, so Nordavind feel confident to push here. 40 minutes now passed in this game.
This game it's going long, this game. We're getting a long one. Chrisberg needs to try and find a bit of additional poke onto Svetic as long flank is coming in. Here's the true shot barrage, gonna get the big slam. Chrisberg ulted. They're trying to find the assassination. This time Chrisberg survives and they're able to find the kill, but Kerberos may just lose his life. 610 comes in for the kick. Can't quite find the additional damage, and the healing from the maximum dosage is way too much for 610 to be able to deal with. Use is trying to get a bit of a tidy up. The infected cleaver doing oh so much damage, and Chrisberg didn't die that time, crucially. So that could just be it, but Use has got a full health bar to work with.
I mean, that was honestly worrying for Godsent because they got a huge combo off and they still lost the fight overall. Reset comes in from Aris and they're still 4 members strong. Ult's going to get absorbed by that shield, but it equalizes back up and they're going in once more.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to be able to walk away. The curve going very low. There's the shutdown. Yusa secures it. And Nordavind, they're just going to have to cool it there. They're going to have to step away, reset, and hope to God. But Kerberos is back up in time because Godsent are bolting down the mid lane. They're looking for this inhibitor.
But they don't have a wave, so they can get the inhib, but they won't get anything more. It sets them up for, like, the potential of ending sooner or later, but it doesn't really drastically change things other than making mid priority a bit easier to take. 30 seconds on Kerberos, but Nordavind 4-man strong just feel to defend this now. Kubu does take that bot lane tier 2 finally. But even then, like, I'm talking about them taking the mid lane inhibitor, they're still feeling a little bit tentative on it.
But you've got to be careful. The damage that Chrisberg's able to output is way too much. The inhibitor finally will go down, and 1 inhib is dealable. It's perfectly manageable, especially when it's in that mid lane.
Yep.
A lane that you are playing around consistently, so it's not too much of a problem. There's a large wave that needs to get caught in the top side, and no objectives getting started up quite yet, but there are 2 open inhibitors in Godsent space. And it feels so long ago that tier 3 topside fell. That was the that was the Rift Herald charge to finish that one up.
It has been a long game. It has been a very long game. And I feel like there's aspects of the compositions, like, you know, 610 was so strong. At least in his current form with the bruiser item, scales a lot better than he used to. But he definitely isn't threatening as much as he did, like, earlier in the game. Yusa's really come online. He's actually has picked up the Blade of the Rune King, so a lot of relevant damage for this Mundo. Stan's looking, because Brig did get chunked out, but is just able to back away. That poke not doing as much as it was earlier in the game as well. Chrisberg has still ability to outrange, still the ability to poke, but these team fights aren't really based around the poke setup beforehand.
He's still doing a fair amount, but you are completely right.
I mean,
yeah.
If he hits Yusa, just heals up. Hits 610, just heals up. Kubu's passive so it keeps him top. If he hits Aesthetic and Vene, it's great, but this is kind of a different dynamic to earlier where we had, you know, those high value targets to hit with the piercing arrows. It's a lot trickier in this game. A lot of shielding as well.
Oh no,
it.
Chrisberg's being cooked. He has the GA in. Battle Dance shielding will keep him alive. So Chrisberg going to be back and able to go heal. Elder and Baron spawning up though, and with Chrisberg now back on the fountain.
Yeah, it's rough timing.
Needing to get himself some health back before he can join into the team. Nordavind are going to have to do a hell of a job to buy some time, but Kerberos, he's feeling it.
I think
remember, he's very tanky, can get into the pit, but this Baron is already done. It's already secured, unless Sharp can find himself a miracle steal. He's trying to get himself into the pit, but the Baron is splashed onto, and it's taken away. They try to find Ericsson with Kubu, but the chains are connected, and the arrows doing a fair amount of damage. Kerberos still on that front line, and Kubu will finally lose his life. Kerberos slowly but surely going down. He needs to find the opportunity to heal, but Sharp is stealing form, and he is starting to reset after reset. Yusa trying to kite. The GA is being used, and that is going to be the end of their jungler. Yusa is sniped by Chrisberg with a flash.
That might actually be a game-saving arrow right there, taking out Yusa, because he is so strong, and I felt like they were just going to push for the end, but losing their AD carry, Godsent know they have to back off now. Elder Dragon up and available. Godsent still have their jungler, but without the AD carry, you have to imagine they're so significantly weaker right now. And Kerberos is a problem. A problem they don't really have the tools to deal with without Yusa, so I think they can peel away towards this dragon now. And it really comes down to spawn timers. Kubu is longer, but his TP is coming up. Touches up pretty soon.
Might just be looking for a little bit of a pick here, but not going to be able to find it quite yet.
Yeah, they don't want to start the dragon because they just don't have the smite. I think they could win the fight here, honestly.
The equalizer comes in, the chains to follow as well, but instantly broken up as the arrow is going to do so much damage to Svene. There's that arrow damage we were talking about. That's what we wanted to see, and that's going to force Godsent away. They may just look to try and bolt down the mid lane, though, as 610 might find touch. The blast cone gets popped, and Sharp needs to go deal with the mid wave, but they also need to deal with this Elder.
It's like they're going to back off for now. We're going to replay, and this was just such a messy fight coming out. Kerberos gets ulted in. It does a ton of damage once more, but you're getting these piercing arrows coming out flying from Chrisberg. Kerberos is soaking so much damage, and Sharp starting to come online now on this Viego, starting to find value. Kind of misplayed on the set there. Should have waited longer before the Haymaker, but is more of a threat than he was before in this game. And this piercing arrow with the W active, game saving, honestly.
They're looking for it, though. They're looking to start the fight off, but going to be able to back away if that true shot does a lot of damage. So 610 has to be careful. He's going to get collapsed on the Spectral Maw, locks him in place, and he is going to find a big kickoff as he ward hops to safety. Redemption's going to heal everybody up, but the Dragon is going to be secured. I don't think Sharp's going to be able to get here in time. They looked for a kill onto the mid laner, and they're going to lose a lot for it. The Guardian Angel's been popped, and maybe now they can find themselves a follow-up. The equalizer will burn, and Sharp able to steal the form, able to hop away to safety, but Kerberos is going to slowly but surely be cooked here. Has got the Heart Zapper on for a bit of that grey health to keep him alive.
Baron and Elder in Godsent's hand. They do lose their mid laner. They are going to reset. They're playing it safe. They'll still have those buffs in hand. And yeah, Nordavind, they see a numbers advantage. They can find, they're like, okay, we can take out 610, but 610 had GA. 610 is mobile. And they end up just sacrificing the Elder. It goes down so quick at this point of the game.
Yeah, it's melting. It's absolutely melting. I mean, gold is completely irrelevant at this point in the game. Everybody bar the supports are full build. Apart from Ericsson as well, because he sold his Medjais because he wasn't using it. Let's be real. Maybe like a Cosmic Drive or something for Ericsson here?
Yeah, Cosmic Drive's a decent late item. Rabadon's as well. Depending on the gold. I think he's going for his Zhonya's, though, I would imagine. That would make a lot of sense to me, because he used his stopwatch in the previous fight, and it was a good scenario. But I think he's not holding the stopwatch because it's like not doing anything for him right now.
Chrisberg actually sold the Guardian Angel and bought an Edge of Night as well, because it was on cooldown. You might as well work with Spell Shield if you don't have that Resurrection.
Yeah,
because the armor ain't helping you versus Kubu.
Yeah. True damage OP. And we actually see Kerberos sell his boots and buy a Spirit Visage. Which I'm not sure about. Like, the mobility is kind of OP, especially when you're chasing people down and they've got Cloud Soul.
Yeah. Especially a team with Cloud Soul.
But
he's got almost 6k health.
Yeah, when he gets buffed by his team, he gets a lot of movement speed. And I guess he is tanky, I'll give him that. But you're gonna have a hard time chasing people down, particularly like Yusa. And if he's caught out, I mean, look how slow he walks. He just looks like a titan lumbering about. Oh, that cleaver did a lot of damage.
It did a lot of damage. He is really starting to hurt people. But like you said, they've still got the sustain. And he's got the Pot of Iron as well, which I believe slows you down. So that's not helping. Is the
I don't think it does. I think it just makes you bigger so you look slower.
Oh, okay. Because I know it gives you tenacity as well. And people and your team are faster when they follow the little fart trail.
Yeah, they're faster when they follow the trail. It makes you bigger. I think that's why he looks so slow, because he's so big. Like, remember, Gauntlet makes you bigger based on how many legendary items you have, and he's got a full set. So this is kind of like maximum Mundo size, you know, peak Mundo.
I just can't get over how much health he's got. He's massive. Although I genuinely think it might be enough for Kubu to one-shot Chrisberg. Although Chrisberg has now sold the Edge of Night and picked up a GA. Now it's back off cooldown.
Well, I mean, set sold does 60% of the target's max HP. So that's like 3,600 physical damage, which in League of Legends terms, we refer to that as a lot. So probably would do a decent amount of damage to Chrisberg. Chrisberg has now bought the GA again as the cooldown's reset. And these teams are kind of chilling, but there is a Baron in 5 seconds, and Chrisberg just got chunked out. They might just start this up and rush it.
It's going to be very, very quick. It's going to be very, very quick. The teleport's coming in. They're looking to try and fight this. Kubu on the flank as well. Can they find the opportunity? 610 going to get forced away. They throw the chains onto Kubu. They're just trying to find the kill after him, but the Baron could get reset. What is that true damage? It's insanity.
And he keeps his GA. He's going to heal up with his passive. He could just reset and TP back in. They're starting the Baron. That's the call. He has wards and minions to TP to. Nordavind needs to start the fight now.
It's now or never. The quickness needs to be used by touches to get the slow. Sharp's able to find the kill. The equalizer is ripping through Chrisberg's health at 610. Looks for him, but the wild growth is on, and Chrisberg's doing a lot of damage to 610. As Kerr gets slammed back, but he's so tanky. He's so big. Kubu not going to be able to do this. Is that going to be Kerberos going down? Ericsson's trying to shield up the team. Can Sharp save the day? Chrisberg still alive here. Still got something to work with. Kubu's been slowed. The Spectral Maw will stun him, and Kubu will lose his life. Sharp able to steal the form, and now he can chase something useful as he heart breaks forward. One more Spectral Maw will seal the deal, but Baron is not going to be taken by anybody yet.
Oh, but Yusa's healing up. I think they want to go back to the recontest. They thought that Nordavind might start it, but Nordavind want nothing to do with this Baron. They will just back away. They respect the Ezreal strength at this point of the game, but more and more chaotic fights right now.
Wait, they're doing Baron. There's no vision.
No one's near.
There's no vision. They don't know this is going on. They got to deal with the wave. Baron's a freebie for Godsent even after they lost the team fight.
I'm going to say it. I don't think you're too concerned about Baron. Elder is the bigger problem at this point of the game. Elder kind of trumps Baron, because if they try and push, you just fight them.
Yeah.
So they secure it. Again, the gold's negligible, and we will go to a TP replay. Zvenet gets chunked out really early, and you can see Kerberos and Sharp buying a lot of time on this front line, but Chrisberg is just taking so much damage. He does manage to finish off 610. This Lee Sin has kind of fallen off a fair bit now, and eventually Kirb's health ends up dropping down, and they can take him out, but it's just such a long, extended fight, such big health bars, and now Sharp really has come online. We're getting a lot more value from this Viego, able to just consistently deal damage, reset that passive, and go through this fight. But still, very messy encounter, and no clear winner, because Nordavind won in terms of numbers, but Godsent got the Baron, so kind of balanced overall. Nordavind now have control of this area, but Chrisberg gets shown the equalizer.
He's been slowed. The equalizer's down. He's not going to get quite hit. Ericsson's able to get himself the shield off. Touch gets kicked back as the chains go down. They're trying to get a bit of bonus damage into Kubu, but the sustain is going to be there. As the arrow does do a little bit, but the Elder is on, and Curb needs to find his opportunity to get into this Sharp. Can he find the resets as Yusa needs to jump away? They're looking for the slam back. Chrisberg's not in the pit this time. He's going to get a lot of damage thrown onto him, but Sharp is on a killing spree as Curb can just heal back up thanks to that Warmog. 71-second death timer for Kubu as the Elder will get started up once again. Sharp out of his Kubu form.
I mean, Nordavind can just play for time. Kerberos not full HP, but they have to deal with the mid wave as well. It's a really tricky one. There's no TP on the Mundo. He has to answer Lee Sin. That poke coming out is pretty big.
There's the true shot. Only hits onto Ericsson, but that's still pretty big. He's got the honey fruit to heal himself back up. Kerberos has to deal with the wave, and this is now the teleport that can come out. Kerberos doesn't have teleport yet, and Sharp is going to get zoned away. The kick could be so impactful here. Dragon's half HP. The chains are going to connect. A lot of damage coming onto 610. He gets himself a kick off onto Sharp. The equalizer is going to zone them away. That's the Dragon secure. Sharp is not going to get tethered for now. Dodges away on the kick. Elder, Baron on the side of Godsent, and Kerberos has to pop the maximum dosage. He needs that movement speed to get away, but the Shireldas will slow him down, and so will the Harpoon. Kerberos doesn't have much backup, but he does have touch. Gets himself the shield and gets himself the survivability for now, but Kerberos is executed by Yusa, and Godsent have killed the brick wall. They have knocked it down, and they look to knock through the base and close this game out. It has been a slugfest of a game.
They have Baron and Elder. Nordavind need a miracle. They don't have their beefcake to stand in front of them. They're trying to send out the wave. Godsent are looking for the engage.
Well, there's going to be the slam. They're looking for even more. The chains of corruption's there. A lot of damage on the Kubu, but the shielding is so big. The gift of the Elder's going to pop the GA. The Nexus has been exposed, and it is the longest game of the NLC summer. But Godsent find the win.
What a game, and what a day just of constant upsets throughout, but Godsent managed to pull through in the end in just a behemoth of a game, just like such a long one. It's kind of like we talked about win conditions, we talked about this, we talked about that, and it just like it went so far past that. it's hard to even think back to like all the plays that led up to this, but ultimately in the late game, the consistent damage was there for Godsent. Barrett's really not doing too much in those late game fights. Yes, he can apply poke. Yes, he can chunk people out, but didn't have the follow through. And it kind of felt like the Ezreal was such a massive factor, and some clutch decisions ended up in getting them the win. I'm flustered, Jake. I don't know about you.
That was genuinely an amazing day of games. And, you know, to kind of break down the day of upsets and the day of kind of the underdogs finding wins, we're going to pass it over to our analyst desk to break down the day and that game. So, Viperine, over to you.